Hello, my name is Miles Shipman, and I'll be talking to you about my final project entitled Flashcards, Mobile Learning Redesigned for CS6460 Educational Technologies. First off, why flashcards? During my undergraduate, I took 7 semesters of ancient Greek, and one thing I personally struggled with was the use of flashcards. I, like many students, would compile all the flashcards into one stack and just repeatedly run through them until I felt confident with my knowledge. However, this approach isn't the perfect approach. Sadly, I did not realize that during my undergraduate. It took questions being asked during this class to understand that there are techniques out there to improve your study behaviors and to utilize flashcards to the best of your ability. One such solution is the Leitner system. The Leitner system is a spaced repetition study methodology that forces the user to place their flashcards into a series of boxes. As they answer the flashcard correctly, they move it up a box. If they answer it incorrectly, they move it all the way to the back. Something like this would have been very helpful during my ancient Greek days. But as we go forward, this will be a great solution to add to the digital market. I talk about redesigning flashcards for the mobile market, but what already exists on the mobile market? A quick search of the mobile application market will show a plethora of flashcard applications available, such as Chegg's, Flashcards Plus, and Quizlet. However, many of these applications do not offer study assistance and rely on the student's ability to study to provide adequate results. That being said, there are 2 great examples of flashcard applications that utilize the Leitner system, Anki and Flashcards by NKO. Both of these applications have a built-in Leitner system that uses a student's self-confidence rating at the end of each word to help position the cards within the Leitner system. That being said, these applications rely on students' self-confidence, which can be deceiving. I may go into a situation thinking I'm extremely confident about a word and turn out to be completely wrong about that confidence and fail a test due to that. So where does my project come into this? My goal was to create an application that utilized a custom Leitner system. This Leitner system would not utilize a student's self-confidence to judge a word, but instead utilized a student's performance during quizzes, i.e., how long it took them to answer a question, and were they correct or not when answering that question. This data would be used to move the words based on previous quizzes and previous experiences with that word. I also hope to include a standard and tailored study sessions. A standard session would be exactly like how I explained myself studying earlier, while a tailored session would be taking the words that were in the bottom of the boxes, the early 2 boxes, and show them because those were the words that I needed the help with, or the student needs the help with the most. Finally, I wanted to help students with the creation of flashcards. To do this, I utilized an optical character recognizer and gave the students the ability to take a photo of their vocabulary list and have the application create the flashcards on its own. Welcome to the demo portion of the presentation. If I open the application, we are taken to our home screen. From here, we can choose to view our decks. We can create a new deck. We can go to settings, which currently has nothing, or we can go to the about section, which also has nothing. If we go down to the bottom section, we have the 4 most recent decks. However, in this case, only 2 are shown because only 2 decks exist. If I go to the first test deck, we're loaded to the screen, to the home screen for that deck. If we go back, however, there is a bug that doesn't allow me to go to that deck. However, I can go up here to decks and I can choose our demo deck, to which will take us to the deck home screen for the demo. This top dark gray area is going to be a graph section showing user data such as how long they've been studying this deck, what performance have they done, which quiz they prefer, what word do they tend to struggle with the most, and other data that I hope to collect over time. If we go to study session, it's going to show us all 5 words in our current deck and allow us to go through and study them, get their definition, and continue on. If we go back, however, we can go to the tailored section that I talked about in my presentation earlier. Now, it may seem like most of these words are going to get repeated, and that's due to the nature that 2 of the vocabulary words in this list of my 5 are actually in the bottom decks or bottom boxes of the Lightner system. Thus, they are my struggle words, and they're going to be repeated the most. And that's what the Lightner system's doing here. It's repeating the word that you struggle with the most to make sure that you can learn that word. And it works just like a standard quiz section, except your words are focused on, or it's more focused on what you struggle versus every word. Now, I talked earlier in my presentation about the information being based on quizzes, and there are currently 4 quizzes available. And that's a matching quiz where I can select and match words, and if they're correct, they go away. If they're not correct, they just go back to being yellow or back to gray. A nice, lovely animation. If we go here, we get a flashcard, and this is kind of kind of Tinder for flashcards. If you don't know the word, you swipe left, and that's considered as an incorrect answer. If you know the word, you swipe right, and it's kind of a good faith how you would judge standard flashcards. Back, we have a multiple choice quiz, which we can answer, and tells us lovely afterwards that I'm a failure with these words, so they're all considered wrong. And then finally, we have a spelling test, which is another thing that I'm absolutely terrible at. All in all, most of this application is rough, but that's it for the demo. As shown in my demo, much of the application is still in the proof of concept phase. And while the concept works, it's not yet ready for prime time activity. With the conclusion of this project, I still plan on continuing this work and developing a full project. To do that, I need to finish the UI and polish it and make it more natural. I need to fix a few bugs that are still in the application. Many of these bugs can be found in full detail in my paper. I need to add the ability to share flashcards between users or devices. And with all these done, I hope to release the application on both iOS and Android by December 2016. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed my project.